Okay. So yesterday, some of the top leaders had a call with some of our marketing people, Anton and Sophie, that are new to Solex. And some of the questions that they gave us made us all think, wow, how do we explain the AO and how does it really work? How do you explain it to others? That has been one of the biggest kind of hurdles most of us have, because if you approach somebody that doesn't have any knowledge of frequencies, this is really hard for them to wrap their brain around. So in the process of asking all of us on the call, how we explained it, we all very commonly kind of explained it in all different ways. There's the analogy of cell phones. When you dial a phone number on a cell phone, it's only calling that person that you're dialing, and it's not calling all the other people that's in your contact list. So, and then another person, brought out that it's much like metal detecting. How a metal detector, the way it works is it actually pings a frequency down into the earth, and then another frequency pings back to let the machine know what's actually in the ground at that very spot, be it gold, silver, aluminum, copper, whatever it is. The metal detector will actually tell you what's under the ground, and that's the use of frequencies. Another friend shared about how they implode buildings, and they do a frequency through the steel beams of the building so that the building actually collapses on itself instead of exploding out into the atmosphere and stuff. So the medical community uses frequencies all the time with MRIs, CT scans, the heart monitors and things like that. That's all frequency. Ultrasound is frequency. So I'm just going to open it up and see how you guys, if you want to share, how you explain to someone what is the AO and what does it really do. Does anybody have anything they want to share?
Hey, Tammy, I'll share.
Okay.
So usually what I do is I usually start with the whole, your body's made of, you have a unique identifier, you're a unique person in the universe, you've got your own coordinates, and the scanner can identify those coordinates using that your birth date's the base, blah, 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 blah. And that's basically how I go about it when I start talking about that. And I go more into the aspect of everything in the universe is made of energy, right up to the creator. The creator is energy. And that's generally how I explain it. But you had a couple of good ones there, especially about that, especially because I've been trying not to, but I've approached Bonnie twice about running frequencies. And that really honestly is a great analogy, because they're very Catholic and they're very not new agey or holistic, although they have talked to me about FSM and the acupuncturist before. But honestly, that was great what you said about the MRI and the ultrasound and stuff, because that's something that I can actually say, you're already using this, you're just using it with machines that she has to be attached to. Mine just doesn't be attached.
Yeah, that's a great explanation, actually, Deb. I love it when you tie it into the creator, because we're all source energy from him anyway, him, her, it, however you want to identify, and we have a higher being. So I love that explanation. Anybody else have?
I spend a lot of time talking to Christians, and they can be very skeezy about, energy medicine, period. So that's why I come from, that's where that develops.
I love it. I do too. I have several that, they just can't seem to wrap their brain around it, and it just kind of scares them more than anything. But I'm like, there's nothing to be afraid of. You can pray, and praying is kind of the same effect. The other thing that we all talked about is especially when, maybe you enter a room and you can feel that there's some angst in there because maybe a couple of people have, had an argument, or maybe somebody doesn't like somebody else in the room, and you can feel that. Or a lot of people I know can feel that, just like if you were to come home after a long day and maybe your spouse has had a very, very bad day. I know Scott tells me all the time, he recognizes me when I'm off. And sometimes I'll go, God, I just feel off today. Something's wrong with my mood, something's affected me. And he goes, I can feel it. You're wearing it all over you. So I don't think we, realize how simple frequencies are, but yet how complex they are too. So anybody else like to share? All right, well, let's move on to the next, inner voice. So the next question they posed to us is, how do you explain the inner voice in 3 sentences or 30 seconds on social media? So anybody want to just take a stab at that? How do you explain it? Okay, I'll go for it.
Tammy,
So yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to, one of the things that I do is I say one of the founding or themes running through natural health is that emotions are the foundation of dis-ease.
Yeah.
And that with that founding principle in mind, if you come to emotions that we can register through the vibration of the voice, then we're addressing at a foundational level. Yeah. It's not saying that you are one or the other extreme of the printout, but that you are somewhere on that seesaw and it currently is not level and balanced. You could be tipping ever so slightly one way or the other, but it's not definitely not an all or nothing. But emotions are the foundation. And if we start at the foundation, Christ builds the rock, not on shifting sand. If we start there, then we're going to build a healthier core.
Yeah. I love that, Carol. I love that. And that's so true. That is kind of how I explain it too. I let them know that this is, this is an emotional reflection of what's going on within. And it just helps you to be able to understand yourself a little bit better so that you can balance those emotions and not trap anything in so that you don't set up disease later on. So that's just, that's kind of how I've explained it, very simple. And people tend to get it. But then when we get into the colors and whatnot, then the other thing is I just tell them, hey, that this is just another level, because they know that chromotherapy has an effect on us. We see in color, and colors are meant to be expressed. And this is just one way that we're able to do that, and actually to balance those, those emotions, those traumas out, using the chromotherapy along with the tones, with the different beats and stuff. Our brain is so smart and so delicate that using those tones, and really, really thinking about them and listening to them, you will start to feel a shift in your own system, because we know that music has played an important part in almost everybody's lives. I don't know anybody that doesn't like music. I've never met anybody that says, oh, I'm not a music listener. Seems like everybody across the board has some sort of interest in some type of music. It just depends on, what different music genres are out there, but almost everybody loves music. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why does that have such a big effect on us? Well, it's because I think that that's a frequency, and it's kind of a song to our whole body and our being. And some music makes you want to get up and dance. Some music can make you sad. Some music makes you very happy. And there's some music, I mean, I know there was a particular song that was played at my grandfather's funeral that every time I hear it on the radio, I start to tear up and think about my father. It makes me relate back. So that's an emotional anchor. Music plays in our systems, and what a beautiful thing that we have a tool that can help guide the brain into processing those feelings and those emotions so that we can, like, create a path for our own healthy being. So that's kind of how I explain it. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that? And I welcome the new ones on the call. You can just unmute yourself and speak up if you'd like to share. All right. The other thing that we had the question of, and it kind of seems a little redundant, but how do you tell others? So how do you explain the Solex technology and the AO scan to a friend over a quick cup of coffee? And I told I told Anton and Sophie, I'm like, there is no real quick way to explain the AO scanner. It just, the thing that I always tell everybody, if I'm in a quick, when they ask me, hey, what do you do? This is what I tell them. I use a biofrequency device that actually measures your body's frequencies, because we're all made out of frequencies. Even the lights, the trees, the earth, everything is made out of frequency. And with this little device, it can measure all of the frequencies within your body, your cells, your bones, your tissues, even in your emotions, and give you printout reports that can kind of guide you on your own health journey. And that's my quick little snippet. And they like that. But I think that a lot of times, the things that are so simple are almost the most complex. So does anybody have like just a quick elevator pitch that you tell people that you'd like to share? On if someone were to come to you and say, hey, what do you do? What do you do with that little thing that you got in your hand? What would you tell them? How would you explain it? Anybody? Okay. Well, this is just kind of something to kind of help you start thinking about, because if you're unable to explain it, then you're not going to be able to attract people to what you're actually promoting or what you're using in your practice, because a lot of people want to know, well, what is it that you use? How does it work? So this is just kind of a practice and just kind of a way to get us thinking and how we can better get more people involved, because the goal of Solex is actually to get one of these devices in the hand of everybody. And the reason is because it has such a big impact on us. I don't know, how long everybody's been using theirs. I know I've been using mine for going on 3 years, and what an incredible tool it's been, how it's changed me. But it's helped me. What it's done, the biggest part of, is to help me understand and be able to tune into my body even more, because it makes things accessible so that you can actually track what's going on. So that's what's so cool about this. And the other question that they presented to us is that, could you teach it? If you had to teach the AO to a group of students, how would you do so? So I thought that was very interesting, because as leaders, we're actually teaching our downlines to kind of replicate or duplicate what we're doing. So hopefully by, me holding these Zoom calls, giving you tips and tricks and, secrets on how to, kind of explain this, you can take it and kind of adjust it to how you talk to somebody. But the whole goal of being able to teach it to somebody is that you're going to empower them. So if you can teach it, then others can too. And you're empowering them to be able to use this device much more effectively. And then it's going to help you grow your business too, because if you can teach it to others, then, it's going to be so much more fluid. So basically this is the end of the PowerPoint. I just wanted to kind of get your ideas on, and get you to thinking, how do you explain it to others? How can you improve your business by, learning a little elevator pitch, so to speak? Because I think Solex is going to be really working on little things to help us empower us with tools basically to use in our businesses. But this kind of gives you a start, and they're wanting to get feedback from the field. So just the things that I shared today, if you want to give Solex some feedback, you can write, Solex at support at Solex LLC, and send in your comments, and they watch and they read every one of those comments. So if you have suggestions on how they can better make the tool work, they're open to all that. So but I think that they're out there really trying to help us so that we can be better in the field, teach others how to use this. And I know there's a lot of people, even on my team, that just use it for personal use. They're not practitioners, or maybe they're not even promoting it because they don't know how to promote it. So I think in the months to come, you guys are really going to see that we're going to get a lot of beautiful tools from Solex, things that we can, start to use and help educate people that are interested. And just know that I'm also here as a team leader, that if there's something that you need, if you need one-on-one, I'm happy to do it. Just make sure you're doing your, once you get involved, just make sure to train and teach your people to get in there and do their back office training and their basic training, because the basic training is going to answer a lot of their questions. And then once they get that done, then if they want to go deeper into the trainings, Solex has those too. So I'm going to open it up to any questions or comments. It doesn't have to be about this particular subject, but if you have any questions or comments or things I can help with, please unmute yourself and ask away. I'll be able to help in any way. Okay, well, it's short and sweet this today. I hope it was helpful. But if there's anything at all that anybody needs help with the scanner, feel free to unmute, and otherwise we'll just go call it a day, and we'll see everybody next Saturday. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.